Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're not really just talking about an investment plan. We're going to talk about a whole new life design, a way to move from that constant financial worry to real financial growth.
Do you know that quiet thought that sometimes pops into your head? I deserve more freedom, more security, more options. If you've ever felt that, then this is for you. We're going to start right there with that feeling. This is your guide to finally shifting from that end-of-the-month panic of where did all my money go to wow, look how much I've grown.
And here's the crazy part. This is the paradox that economies like Turkey's are facing right now. When you have consumers saying everything is just too expensive, but at the exact same time, business owners are saying their profits are shrinking, you know the basic rules of the economy are changing. Okay, let's dive into this. And hey, as we go, if you find this helpful, please don't forget to subscribe, turn on those notifications, and give this a like. It really helps. Thank you.
First things first, we have to understand this invisible force that's making life so tough. It's like a silent revolution. It starts small. A loaf of bread costs a little more. The coffee you grab on the way to work suddenly feels kind of overpriced. These seem like tiny, quiet changes, but they really add up.
See, this isn't just about prices going up. It's a very specific economic condition where the whole system just feels broken. It's a time when everyone is super busy, working hard, but there's no real progress to show for it. And in this kind of environment, it's always the middle class that gets squeezed the most.
Let's be real. These aren't just numbers on a screen. They represent a massive decline in your actual purchasing power. Things that used to be minor costs are now major expenses. What was once affordable is now basically a luxury. And essentials like rent, well, that can eat up an entire salary. This is what it looks like when your money loses its value right before your very eyes.
This kind of economic pressure, it changes society in a fundamental way. If you look at history, these periods tend to wipe out the middle, leaving behind just two groups, the very rich and everyone else who's struggling. So, where does all that money from the middle class actually go?
Well, the scale of this problem is just staggering. According to a report on financial behavior from the Turkish Statistical Institute, also known as TÜİK, a whopping 86% of the working population has no investments at all. Zero. That means they are completely exposed to the destructive power of inflation.
So here's the most important point of all. That 86%, they're trapped in what we can call the earn-spend cycle. It's a treadmill. Your paycheck comes in, it's immediately spent, and as everything gets more expensive, you just have to run faster and faster, maybe even take on debt, just to stay in the exact same place. The only way off that treadmill is to make a conscious choice to shift to the wealth creation cycle.
Now, you might be thinking, okay, times are uncertain, so the safest thing to do is just save my cash, right? But here's the thing. In a high inflation environment, that is actually the most dangerous thing you can possibly do, because your money isn't just sitting still. It's actively bleeding value.
This number, it's the staggering annual inflation rate in Turkey as of March 2024. What does that mean? It means that any money you just held in cash lost 68% of its purchasing power in a single year. Your savings, just sitting there, were actively losing their ability to buy you things. Let me be perfectly clear about this. We are not talking about the risk of losing money in stocks or something. We are talking about the 100% certainty of losing your purchasing power if you do absolutely nothing. Think of inflation as a mandatory wealth tax, and the only people who pay it are those who choose inaction.
Okay, so if doing nothing is a guaranteed loss, well then taking action is our only real option. And listen, this isn't about becoming some kind of Wall Street genius overnight, not at all. It's about adopting a new mindset and building a system that protects you and your future.
And this, right here, this is the key to the whole thing. The data is so clear. Wealth is overwhelmingly something you build through knowledge and discipline. It's not something you're just born with. That means it's an accessible skill for anyone.
So, that purchasing power that the 86% lost, it didn't just disappear into thin air. Nope, it was transferred to the 14% who understood these principles. See, they didn't try to fight inflation. They used its power to their advantage by owning the very things, the assets, that were going up in price.
So, the big question is, how do you start? How do you join that 14%? Well, the source material lays out a really clear, actionable blueprint that literally anyone can follow. It's all about taking small, consistent steps to build up this powerful momentum over time.
It all starts with these three basic actions. First, you have to get control of your money.
know where it's going. Then you automate your investing, make it a habit. And finally, you build a portfolio that can weather the storms. This isn't about timing the market. It's about creating a system that just works for you in the background.
And this is just an example of what a simple, diversified starter portfolio could look like. The source suggests a model that's pretty heavily weighted towards broad, lower-risk index funds, like the S&P 500. Then you balance that out with things like gold, long-term tech ideas, and even a small strategic piece in established crypto. The whole point is to spread your risk and capture growth from different parts of the economy.
Your investment journey is exactly like this. It is not going to be a stadium-sized success overnight. You have to start small. I mean, if that famous musician had given up after her first tiny show, she never would have made it to the big stage, right? You just have to start with your first investment, no matter how small it feels, and then let the incredible power of compounding do the heavy lifting over time.
Look, the pain of this economic moment, it doesn't have to be a life sentence. It can be the thing that pushes you, the catalyst for building a more secure, more prosperous future. And that whole journey, it just starts with a simple decision, and you can make that decision today.